Hey, everybody, check it out. This is your Washington Commanders update from the Culture from the Couch series. And I know, we are not supposed to be talking at 4:24 Eastern Time on a Tuesday. But the trade deadline is now the NFL trade deadline is behind us. And I am here with one of my partners here. Let's go ahead and get right on off into the races. This is your girl C Wall checking in with Darrell Owens, also from Bowie Television. We had to check in. You all let us know that you're here. Hit the love button. Don't be too upset, Commanders fans. Don't be
Just
so
show some
mad
love.
that you can't hit a love button or drop a fire emoji if you are joining us for this live discussion. Very important conversation. The NFL trade deadline is now behind us. Darrell and I said we needed to hop on here and talk. Real reactions from us, real reactions from you all. Can't wait to see what happens when we get out to the park in Ashburn tomorrow. But we do still have some housekeeping items. If you're joining us from the Seawall Sports and Entertainment Facebook or YouTube pages, hello. If you're joining us from the Bowie TV YouTube page, hello. What are our subscribers? I know Darrell streams to there all the time, but I do not. So I am Seawall, everybody. I know you've seen Darrell a few times, but let's get into these housekeeping items real quick. And then we're going to get into the discussion. This is a live Bowie television recording. We are totally not doing what we normally do. This is a reaction show, everybody. So let's go ahead and get into it. We know some of our subscribers and watchers have already tuned in. We're going to play a game that we mostly play on the From the Culture from the Couch series, the Washington Commanders update, called "What's Your One Word?" Okay, and I mean, go ahead and put your one words down, Commanders fans. What's your one word to describe how you are feeling right now, live and in living color? This is a safe space for the most part, right? This is a safe space, right, Darrell?
That's a pretty safe space. We're not angry people. We're not angry people.
What's your one word? You can drop it in the chat to describe how you are feeling about the Commanders' moves today. Let's see. Okay, let's put some of these one words up there.
That first one.
Ooh.
Oh, that first one's a tough
Okay,
one.
sickness. And continue to drop in the chat exactly why you're feeling this way. And I'm gonna keep putting the words up there as others drop in their words. Darrell, what is you? Do you have a one word?
It's a tough one.
It's tough for us.
You
It's
know,
tough for us.
I mean, it's crazy.
I don't even have. I mean, if you don't, you don't.
I know.
I don't even.
I was thinking about it as you put it up. I think my one word is change. I don't know. I mean, when you come down to it, we've seen this building low key for months. I mean, we knew at some point once this new management would come in. We've been talking about it even since the end of the season last year. It was like once we heard the rumblings, once we knew Dan was out, we knew that there was going to be some change at some point. But we knew that they were going to give Ron and the crew an opportunity to fix it before they start making moves in that range. And now we're seeing that change because things have not gone as well as we would all have liked to have seen them go. And I'm pretty sure the management would like to have seen other things. We've seen a displeasure from I call him the voice of the management, Magic Johnson. We've seen this displeasure via some tweets the last couple of weeks. And I think what we saw today is part of that. I think it's just displeasure on what we've been seeing on the field on week-to-week basis. And now it's starting to slowly but surely come into fruition. Things that we were hoping that we didn't get to see, but we're seeing now.
It happened, right? It happened. And I think that the signs were all there. You're exactly right, Darrell. The signs were all there. I think that some of the reaction we're seeing is from those that wanted to see a change in the coaching staff first. They were like, listen, the players shouldn't have to deal with the hit of, they shouldn't have to deal with the hit first of the change. Let's get some different coaching staff, perhaps coaching styles in the building, in the room. Let's pull in the support from the alumni, because we've heard alumni players say they want to help, they want to be a part, all of those things. Let's get all of those things in there first before you see what happened today happen. And that's the trading of defensive ends, Montez Sweat and Chase Young. Many people thought it was going to be an or, right? Darrell and I, we talked about this. We talked about this on the way to MetLife Stadium when it was first reported. I'm going to give credit where credit is due, because we were talking about it internally. It was first reported by Diana Rossini of the Athletic.
Yeah, we were checking it out on the way up. Yep.
We were looking and we were like, well, there goes the neighborhood. And we already knew that there were rumblings in terms of trade deadline. And if the Commanders did not win, beat the Giants, beat the Eagles, right? Because we might as well say that the Commanders had the Eagles on the ropes in the first game.
Yep.
The game went into overtime. So the Giants are injury riddled. You got to beat the Giants. You have to beat the Eagles this time.
Yep. That
was going to keep everybody safe. But once those two games went down, we all looked at each other on Sunday, this past Sunday, and said they're gone. They're gone. And it wasn't necessarily the coaching staff. You could feel the vibe in the locker room. It was like Montez certainly knew. He's for sure knew.
Yeah.
He knew. And Chase, I don't want to say whether he knew or not, but we all knew what the conversations were.
Yeah.
Right. We all knew what the conversations were, but for certain, going up to MetLife, we already knew that this team had to win the Giants game. They had to win the Eagles game. Those two games were the deciding factors in what was going to happen between the trade deadline. They win those games, you may have seen, or we may have seen, a different turnout, right? We may have seen the Commanders say, we'll trade picks to get players in here to help us win. But because they lost both of those games, division games, very important, your two valuable assets are gone. And that also proves, and it shows, now they weren't the only ones on the table.
No.
They were not the only ones on the table. We'll say that. They were not the only ones on the table. We'll say it again. But they were the two that were the most valuable. Teams were clamoring. And they're gone now.
Yeah.
And I know, put it like, let's also say this, and we knew instantly this was not a Ron Rivera move. Listen, let's just go ahead. We're gonna keep it real with our we're gonna keep it real with our
keep it a whole buck.
Hey, listen, Jack Del Rio, there would have been some slow singing and some flower bringing had Ron and Jack, it wouldn't have happened that way. That's how we knew. We said, oh, this is coming from above.
Yeah.
The ownership group is not playing anymore. They're not playing. They're serious.
Yeah.
The opportunities.
The opportunities are there, Candy. I mean, like,
it was there. It was there.
I mean, we're 8 games in, and we talked about this prior to coming on. 8 games in, they had a ton of chances to put themselves in a situation that we wouldn't be in this situation right now. We can go through a couple things. You give up 30 points in 4 straight games with a defense with a talented on paper, very talented defense on paper, and you give up that amount of points in that stretch. Then the defense kind of gets back in their heels. They do some things a little bit better, but it's still just within the offense falls apart. So your defense was falling apart. The offense was kind of staying balanced a little bit. Now it went like it was like a back and forth thing, and it's like they haven't been able to be consistent all year. And we both feel that they could easily, there's only 2 games that they really lost, and that was the Bears game and the Bills game.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, they were in it to win it. They were in the mix. They had chances. They didn't get blown out in those games. They either won the game or they lost close. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the Arizona game, they slipped by Arizona, a tough Arizona team at the time. I will say that. You know, you look at the going to Denver, had to come back in that game, but they still won the game. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo, they get blown out by Buffalo, just destroyed, and it was not close at all. Then they got to come back and say, okay, can we do it? Can we fix things? The next time they go to Philly, they battle Philly. Both games, Candy, both games. You
Yep.
have the lead. You're on top of it, and you're looking good. On both games, you're like, man, this Commanders team, and that's the team that you want to see. You know, and then
Mm-hmm.
they slowly let it slip in both of those contests. It's like, all right, okay, go to Atlanta. You know, a couple things happen. You know, Charles Leno's situation, which, you know, send prayers out to his family. You know, maybe a little bit of a motivator for the team while they were down there. They go through Atlanta, they do what they need to do. They go to the Giants, they fall apart. A team that, especially after the Atlanta game, you said, "Oh man, they're going to definitely come up in here. They should beat the Giants easily. Backup quarterback, backup players all the way around. Yeah, you still got Saquon, but nothing against Tyrod. But Tyrod's not that guy that's going to go in there and throw for 400 or 500 yards and beat you. You know, and offensively they just couldn't get it together. And now you look at
Mm-hmm.
this game that just passed, and it's just like, wow, they had chances, and they're
Yep.
in this situation for a reason. It's unfortunate, but that's where they are.
Yep. I mean, it's definitely unfortunate. If you all are just tuning in, welcome. This is from Bowie Television. I'm your host, Seawall. I'm here with my partner in Commanders coverage, Darrell Owens, as well. Both of us in Bowie Television on site with the Commanders each and every single practice. You might as well say each and every single game. We're just doing a reaction of all the things of the NFL trade deadline. I've put a few comments up on the screen, which I can acknowledge. I know this has got to be hard for a lot of Commanders fans. You know, you get attached to and for us too. Let me be clear, right? We're not. Let's Bowie TV, Darrell and I are not the people that is like, see ya, wouldn't want to be. That's not us. We
Not us.
understand the
Not us.
business aspect of this though. So it's tough to see any player leave on any, you know, because you build those relationships and everything, and you'd like to cover them and see how they grow and move and all of those things. However, we knew a few things,
Yeah.
right? What do we know? Let's use all of our clues, which was we've seen how Josh Harris moves. Look at
Yeah.
how he handles his other teams,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This
We
is an
definitely saw that.
ownership group of about 16 or 17 other people. I'm always going to go back to the point that Magic Johnson made in his opening press conference, which was when Josh Harris approached him. He said, I have one question for you, and it is, do you want to win? The Commanders weren't winning.
Nope.
They weren't winning. And hey, at one point, and I had said this, I've said to Darrell so many times, I said, I feel like they're making me look crazy. Are they making us look crazy? We have spent so much time with this team. This particular team, well, throughout the years, we spent a lot of time. But for this season, May to now, I definitely had them at 5-2. They're absolutely not, or 5-3. Well, no,
Yeah.
I had them at 6-2. Sorry, I had them at
Yeah.
6-2
Yeah.
right now. I sure enough did because
I had them
definitely
at 5-3.
had them
I had
split
them
with
at
the
5-3.
Eagles. Yeah, man, we did all of that math, and it was no brainer kind of conversation. Like, oh yeah, we're looking at rosters. So what is showing up on the field on Sunday, especially defensively, when you're 31st in points allowed? There's not a person on that side of the football that can justify why they can't be traded.
No, not at all. You can't
Nobody can justify that. What I'm keeping you for?
Yeah, that
Because
4-game
everybody
stretch.
likes you. Nobody cares about that.
They don't. Look,
I care, but they don't, and I don't matter in that, right?
it's a new regime, man. I mean, look, the new regime, you know, like you said, you talked about the winning part of it. You know, Magic is a winner. He's not going to play those games. You know, like I told you, I feel like Magic is the message man. Josh is not going to say the things. Magic going to say the things what the ownership group is thinking. He's dropped a couple of those tweets the last couple of weeks. during some of the games where they were like disappointed. You know, the Giants game last week was the biggest one. I didn't even look at this week's one because I'm
But
pretty
look,
sure it was
sometimes
one.
what do we say, Darrell? I was too tired this week. But normally
Yeah.
what do we always say? What Magic say?
What Magic say?
What did
Because
Magic say?
Magic say is going to give us the temperature of the room in the
That's
ownership
gonna let
group.
us know what's happening.
He's going to give us
What did
the
Magic say?
yeah. When he said last week when we were leaving MetLife, and that tweet said, yeah, you gotta win. You gotta win. You can't win. You can't win NFL games scoring 7 points. You're not gonna do it often, and so you can just start to tell that the vibe was, they were starting to get a little frustrated, and I also feel like that we felt that way because you can tell the tone in the press conference. I mean, I felt like the press conferences from I said from week 2 on, because obviously they won the first 2 games, but from week 2 on, you could slowly but surely see like a little dip into like the energy of the press conferences, and especially since the Bears lost. I think the Eagles won. It was still the Eagles vibe was like, man, we had a shot. They were upset, but it was more disappointed that they didn't pull it off, But from that Bears game to now, where they've, they're 1-3. Am I saying that right? They're 1-3 since that game.
Yeah.
And so since the first Eagles game, and I'm like, yeah, that vibe is like whoop. Every time I go in the press conference, I'm like, all right, let's see how this goes.
It was going to be somebody, and it was going to be wherever the value was, wherever the teams were calling, and what they could get for that player, right? What they could get and what they felt that value was. I thought it was very good value, I believe, for Montez. I hate to see both of them go.
Right.
But let's be very clear. And I said this all the time. I may not like it, but I understand. Because when you're sitting there watching and you continue to think, what's one of the things we see on the show? Who is paying $6.05 billion to lose?
No.
I'm not trying to be on I'm not trying to be on the wrong side of the alphabet. I don't want more numbers in the L column than in the W column. I want to see my return on investment today. Okay. And guess what? If it ain't gonna work out today, then all right. On to 2024. This is what we do. Now, second rounder for Montez, very fair, solid.
Yeah. I thought that was a good one.
Rounder for Chase. We got a couple questions. One of our colleagues was asking some questions about a little bit more detail about that third rounder. But if it's just a straight up third rounder, right? Pure third rounder, because of Chase Young's injury history,
right?
San Francisco's saying, listen, we want to win now. Y'all go ahead and take this third rounder, because they had a third rounder to give. So they're not without a third rounder. Let's be very clear. The 49ers are not without a third rounder. They got a third rounder. They just gave an extra one over there to the Commanders. Here you go.
You can have this. So,
you know they're going to wheel and deal it. John Lynch going to wheel and deal you all day long. He's going to do good business with you. He's going to make
Lynch don't play.
Oh, bunch of picks. Here you go. Why don't you?
Yeah, I mean, Lynch don't play.
Hey, but this is, I think, it's welcome to trust the process era NFL style, right? Yep. Because this is Josh Harris. This is what, it is what it is.
It's going to be different for Josh.
It is what it is. It's going to be different. There's going to be other accountability. Now, I do understand that most wanted, and I won't say most, I'll say some wanted to see a change. Again, like we were saying at the beginning of the show, wanted to see a change in coaching staff before a change in players. And that'll all come once it all comes together, I do believe. But it is abundantly clear to me that they've said, we've seen enough. You've had 8 games to figure it out. We're moving on to 2024.
Look, I'm going to tell you like this. And I told you, this is also something we talked about beforehand. Now, this is me just throwing out mojo or whatever. But the last time that a coach was on the hot seat for the Commanders and they were heading into a New England game, that was the last time Tom Brady played in Washington as a Commanders, as a New England Patriot. And in that game, New England goes in there, and that's the last we saw of Jay Gruden. Us traveling up to New England this weekend, I'm kind of got a little somber mood going on because I'm like, I don't think they can screw the pooch this week. I think this trade is kind of like a thing saying, hey, look, if we're willing to get rid of Chase and Montez, who are very valuable parts to this defense, we're willing to do other stuff. And I think if they come up there and they poop the bed this weekend, I think our conversations are going to be a lot different on Monday.
I
So I'm hoping that it's not the
mean,
case, but it's got that vibe to it though. It's
it's
got
got
that
that
vibe to it.
vibe. I mean, we think about all the energy, right? You think about all the energy and from the fan base, just everything. The players going from, wow, we've never even experienced a sellout crowd, right? And then let's move forward to the debacle Thursday night against the Bears. That was really when it was like, this isn't going well.
Right.
This isn't going well at all. And I want to talk about that for a moment because I was going off about that behind the scenes. I
you,
was losing it.
you was hot in that press box, boy.
I was hot.
She was mad in that press box.
I think I was worse off though. You saw me that night, but because we talked before, during, and after that game. So you saw me. I wasn't, but that Giants game, I had left the building mentally. I was like, I'm not sitting in here watching this. But if we go back to the Chicago Bears game, remember, we thought somebody was gonna get fired then.
Yeah, it was bad enough.
Okay, and then that's when like rumblings and things started popping up, and then that's when it was officially like, hey, they gotta win. They gotta beat the Giants and the Eagles. These two, they gotta beat them. Gotta beat them. And then Diana Rossini posted, she shared what she said. Me and Darrell looked at each other on the way up. We said, there it is.
There it is.
It was told, well, we heard that's the truth then. That's the truth then. And I'm anxious to see what message does this send to the team, because one of the things that I know I've been talking about, and it was again mentioned today, this regime did not want to trade Montez or Chase. Let's be very clear. This current regime was like, no. They believe so much in the team as it stands right now. They believe so much in the coaching staff. They're like, give us a chance. The new ownership group was like, nah. This is how we gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? This is how we gonna do this. All right. No, because you had chance. You had 8 games. You had 8 chances, and no more chances. Your chances
opportunities,
are up.
Man.
Chances are out, and it's the trade deadline. We got to make a move, right? So I know that this team, we know, Darrell, and we're sharing with everybody else, this regime really did believe in that team. Absolutely believe. And as it stands, this team, well, I'm saying that team because, they're minus now Montez and Chase. They don't have, Montez and Chase, who are such active contributors and leaders to that entire locker room.
Yes.
The way they engage with the offense, the way that they engage with the defense, the special, it's not a person in that locker room that those two guys don't touch and communicate with. I don't know how this is going to go. It's like, this could this be a disaster? Or could this be a thing where it is now shaking up stuff? Where we said we're gonna take 2 of y'all prized possessions. Guess what? They were good. They were definitely value add. Now we got some draft capital, and the rest of y'all could go too, depending on how we feel. It's got to bring something out of people. Like, oh my gosh, they traded Montez and Chase.
Whole squad. At least that's what it feels like.
That's so right. For real. We're not exaggerating. Those 2 guys, they everywhere. They everywhere. Some days I would just be laughing. I'd be like, somebody go tell them sit down somewhere.
Well,
people out. What is going on? But that's just them. They gotta engage. They gotta be there. They gotta be in everything. They not there. So does it shake everybody up? It was that also not only, hey, we're gonna go ahead and get draft capital out of these assets, but if that's what we needed to do to let y'all know, we the captains now, we in charge of this now. Good, because this is serious. This is not no lame duck season. Leaders that we're dealing with.
This is going to be an interesting rest of the season because we got 9 games left. You got 9 games left till a bye week in there somewhere. November's a tough month I mean, the rest of the way is a tough way because there's only, in my mind, 2 games I feel like, okay, there's maybe a really good chance they should win. 2 games. And that's this weekend is a game. I feel like this is a game that they could really bounce back from and win that game. But we've seen different things, and we see the Giants game. But like we talked about on the way up, the Giants got something over their heads, and they just can't beat them when just for whatever reason they just have something over their heads. Everything else is tough. You got Seattle, you got Dallas twice, you got San Francisco, you got to take on the Jets, you got to go take on a Rams team that they have their moments, but they've been playing pretty good, pretty decent for the most part this season. So, and then you got the Dolphins, so you got to worry about all of that and try to put this thing together with a very tough lineup coming up over the next month and a half, no, 2 months or so.
Again.
You got to see Chase
again.
Look.
Everybody stay healthy. That's gonna be a disaster.
Hey man, Chase might get. I don't know. The offensive line played good last week, but if they played decent last week.
Durant.
But I'm gonna tell you, I mean they did. They did. Look, they did for the most part. They did.
This is a reaction show. Y'all gonna get live for real reactions to this.
Now look, if you look at it, and this good is Sam not getting sacked but once. I was proud that he only.
Did I lose Darrell? I might have lost Darrell, y'all. We'll see in a moment. He'll pop back in if I lost him. Let me know if y'all can still hear and see both Darrell and I. Might have lost Darrell, or is it my oh wait, did I lose you? Darrell, did I lose you?
I think you did for a second. I just saw my screen went black.
Oh, well, you back.
Yeah, all right, back. So what was I saying last? Oh man, I forgot what I was saying last. Oh, so I thought that they did a really good job game plan wise. They got the ball out quick and it gave Sam confidence right off the bat. I'm like, man, if they'd have been doing this the whole time, man, wow, wouldn't that have been a nice little thing to kind of like slowly bring him along? I think a lot of these coaches now, they just try to toss him out into the fire and just see what they can work with. But sometimes you got to bring them along slow. But yes, I felt like they played decent this weekend. They really did. They played better than what they played better than what we've been seeing, Candy, because we
I think I lost Darrell again. Let's see if he comes back. Wait, you back, Darrell?
I think Candy might have froze on me now, unless that's still me.
Did I freeze? I can hear you. Who knows? We doing a lot today.
I don't know, Candy, can you hear me? Okay, so
I can hear you.
All right,
well, on my screen, but I can hear you.
Yeah,
but to agree with you, the offensive line did do well this weekend. Let me see what's going on with my machine. The offensive line did do well this weekend, and we'll see if Darrell can jump back in, y'all, and hopefully y'all can still hear and see me and or Darrell while we're working through these technical difficulties. Listen, Josh Harris don't find us. All right. Maybe this is what I get for talking about the refs on my show last night. Is I don't do no ref talk. I don't talk bad about no refs, but I will. But one thing that was funny, I know I wanted to bring up, and hopefully Darrell can join us back in here in a moment, in terms of when the Commanders have to see San Francisco at FedEx Field. I'm like, all I know is during training camp, we would watch Chase and Montez basically have a field day. Pun intended, no pun intended, however you like to take it, on that offensive line. So with that being said, which I think you might be back, Darrell, but with that being said, training camp used to be rough on that offensive line. And so remember, they play San Francisco at FedEx. So yeah, Chase will be back in FedEx. And so that could potentially be, I don't know what to expect. No one knows what to expect. We're only a couple hours out, only not less than an hour right now out of the trade deadline, only like 2 or so hours out of getting it all in our system that both Montez Sweat and Chase Young won't be in the burgundy and gold anymore, at least in the near future. So we had to do this kind of reaction show reaction to what's going on, and we'll continue to keep you all updated for certain. I know we got started dealing with some technical difficulties, but you all listen, Commanders fans, make sure you stay locked in to Bowie TV for sure. Darrell will be able to be out there. Tomorrow I won't be. It will be an interesting time for certain. I'm sure that Coach Rivera will have a lot of questions to ask. I'm not sure if who knows who may show up to have some of these conversations, but you all listen. Thank you so much for tuning in on this very random kind of, didn't even know we were going to have this conversation today. I figured there was going to be some conversations needed to be had, but Commanders fans, try to relax as much as you can. And know this, there is an ownership group that is paying attention. And while some of the moves you may not have wanted to see happen yet, they may potentially still be happening. But if you know any, like I said on my page, if you know any Philadelphia 76ers fans, you might want to tap into them and ask them, is this what it's like from a trust the process perspective? And they're probably going to tell you more than often, yes, indeed, that it is absolutely like this. So thanks you all for hopping on. Feel free, you can still share this live with your Commanders loving family and friends to share with them our take on what happened today with the Washington Commanders trading both of their star defensive ends, Chase Young and Montez Sweat. It'll be very, very interesting to see how the rest of this season plays out. You all, talk to you again soon.